Today I'm giving away a free t-shirt, bringing you a Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown fight, revealing the comics I bought this week, and if I screw up, a blooper reel. Oh, did I mention this is also the 3rd anniversary episode of the show? How y'all doing? I'm Victor, and you are watching the Comic Hero Show. Welcome to the 3rd anniversary episode of the Comic Hero Show. I'm your host, Victor Nunley, and I am the Comic Hero. Coming to you for Clint's Comics right here in Monroe, Louisiana. And folks, there is no other place I'd rather be than right here doing this episode. And, 3 years. No, not every episode of the show was done here. The first 40 episodes were either done in my apartment or elsewhere. But nearly 2 years ago, the late great Clint Thomas had suggested that I do episodes here. He actually encouraged me to do it, and I think he was a lot more excited than I was. And this is also the 132nd episode, and here we are. So hopefully I can do this for many more years to come. All right, let's get things started with and give away a free t-shirt. All right, last week's episode, I asked which actress played the role of Alicia Masters in the Fantastic Four movies from 2005 and 2007. Well, the correct answer is Kerry Washington. Now, I gave the hint that she was the star of the hit show Scandal, so I thought that'd be a dead giveaway. But 3 people have answered, and I'm going to go ahead and draw the names. So the winner of the free t-shirt for this week is the Dude Chair, Brandon Craven from Monroe, Louisiana. So congratulations, Brandon. You won yourself a free Comic Hero tee. All right, now here's the question for next week's episode. True or false? Power Girl is the Earth 2 version of Supergirl. Now, everyone who answers correctly will be entered in a drawing for a free tee in next week's episode. Now, David Oliver from right here in Monroe has requested a Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown fight unlike anything I've ever been requested before. Well, with the exception of another viewer requesting Supermanium against Adamantium. I still don't know how I was able to do the thesis for that, but this one is, I kind of raised an eyebrow on this one, and I'm quite sure that when I reveal it, y'all are going to raise an eyebrow too. Representing the real world, we have 50 Cent. And representing Marvel, we have Iron Man. These two are going to duke it out in a segment I like to call
the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown.
Welcome to the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. Today, it's 50 Cent versus Iron Man. 50 Cent has no powers, but is a prolific rapper. Iron Man possesses genius-level intelligence and expert-level hand-to-hand combat skills. With his armor, he possesses superhuman strength and durability, a cyberpathic link to other suits, supersonic flight at Mach 3, energy repulsors, missiles, and regenerative life support. Who will win? The only way Curtis 50 Cent Jackson is going to stand a chance in this match is if he gets a hold of an armored suit. He puts it on, but Tony Stark rushes in, and he's not at all happy. He notices that it's a suit that was once worn by the late great Colonel James Rhodes, aka War Machine. Stark immediately gets into his latest suit of armor and begins to charge against 50 Cent. He then stops and utters the word, cease. Suddenly, 50 Cent can't control his armor. He asks, "Man, what's going on?" Stark then says, eject. 50 Cent is thrown out of the suit. Stark then gets out of his suit and beats the living daylights out of Mr. Jackson. 50 Cent asks, "Why didn't you just fight me in the suit?" Stark says, "I have a cyberpathic link to every suit you see here. I only wanted you to think I was going to attack." Stark then goes on to say, "I don't know what your business is here, but you better leave before I do something else not nice. By the way, that was Rhodey's suit you were wearing. Nobody wears Rhodey's suit. Iron Man wins. And that concludes this fight on the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown fight. Now, next week I'm going to have one requested. However, if you have a fight request for a future episode, contact info is down there.
Yeah.
Now then, let's get to the comics I bought this week.
Comic books I bought this week.
All right, first up is Batman number 6. This is part of the opening story arc in which Batman encounters the new superhero brother and sister tandem called Gotham and Gotham Girl. And we find out that these two actually have ties to Batman because when Gotham was much younger, he saved him and his parents from being robbed in Crime Alley, which coincidentally was the same place where Bruce's parents, Dr. Thomas and Martha Wayne, were murdered. And this is a continuation of that. This is such a great book, and it's leading up to the events of the Night of the Monster Men story arc, which is a crossover in this book, Detective Comics, and Nightwing. All right, next up is Superman number 8. Now, this is part 1 of the Escape from Dinosaur Island story arc, but in the last issue, since John, which was Superman and Lois's son, was had already been acclimated with the with his Kryptonian roots, Superman decides to take it upon himself to teach him about his Earth roots, and they go on a trip to Smallville. This is a great book. I think Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason are really doing a great job. And now that you know Superman is a dad, it really makes him a lot more centered character, a lot more balanced character in terms of morale. Much better than the New 52 version of Superman, which was kind of a runaway freight train. All right, next up is Back to the Future number 12. Now, words can't describe at all what... Now, the guy that's writing this book is the same guy that wrote the screenplay, co-wrote the screenplay for all 3 movies, Bob Gale. And reading this is almost like watching a spin-off TV show. I mean, great writing, great artwork. I mean, they just got finished with this story I'll call Continuum Conundrum, in which they had to go back to the year 2035. Well, they had to go to the year 2035. It all had something to do with Doc going to that year instead of 2015, and he lost his memory. But with the help of Marty and Jennifer, he gained it back. And now he's back where he belongs in the year 1893. And now... also in this story arc, Needles, who made his debut in Back to the Future Part 2, is always the bully to Marty. Well, he ends up crashing his truck into an egg delivery truck, and now he wants retribution. All right, next up is Wonder Woman number 6. This is part 3 of year 1. Now there's these. Now what Greg Rucka is doing with this book that I find kind of interesting is that he's alternating like 2 different story arcs. Like the odd number of books, the story arc is called The Lies, and in the even number of books, the story arc is called Year 1. Now, as to which story arc reveals the true Wonder Woman, your guess is as good as mine. But both story arcs are amazing. They're both written by Greg Rucka. Now, the odd number of books that are written by, are drawn by Liam Sharp, and the even number books are drawn by Nicola Scott. And it shows Wonder Woman winning a trial. When Steve Trevor ended up crashing, and some other guys ended up crashing on Earth, he was the sole survivor. Well, Trevor was. And they found a gun, and they brought it to Hippolyta, and then they had this trial to see who would, and whoever won that trial would end up becoming Themyscira's champion, and would have to return Steve Trevor back to the U.S. Well, we can all guess who won that. You guessed it, Diana. But what they did with the plane that crash landed, I mean, they made a lot of folks wonder where the invisible jet came from. The Amazons pretty much rebuilt it and made it invisible. Yeah, I know. All right, next up is are 2 issues of the same book, and that's Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps number 4, and Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps number 5. Now this one, Hal Jordan is still trying to make his way back. He's made his way back to Earth, but now he's trying to find the other members of the Green Lantern Corps. And meanwhile, the Green Lantern Corps, after being lost in space and time, finally returned to their rightful DC universe. And both of them are going up against the Sinestro Corps. Well, different members, rather. And but it's only a matter of time before the band gets back together. And then finally, that's okay. I was just keeping track of count. Sorry, folks. But lastly, Green Lanterns number 8. Now this is part 2 of the Family Matters story arc, in which Simon Baz invites Jessica Cruz to the home. I mean, to eat with his family, and then they're pretty much because the Simon Baz Green Lantern Corps is from Detroit, and the Jessica Cruz Green Lantern is from Portland. And it's a very good book. The relationship between Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz kind of reminds me of this old TV show used to come on called Hunter, and the 2 main characters. The first 6 seasons of the show, Rick Hunter and Dee Dee McCall. I mean, they're both police officers. Well, they're space cops, really. And they have their differences, but at the end of the day, they're on the same page. All right, that's 7 I bought, which brings the total number of comics I bought since December of 1997 to 7,488. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this 3rd anniversary episode. You know what? I decided to do a lot of awesome things in this one, but I'm just going to make it like any other episode. Oh, by the way, I want to thank everyone who has come and for your efforts. I brought pizza. So going back there and get y'all a few slices. All right, now here's the question for next week's episode. One more time. True or false? Power Girl is the Earth 2 equivalent to Supergirl. Everyone who answers correctly will be entered in a drawing for a free tea in next week's episode. Oh boy, 3 years, and you know what? I at this time I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my good friend, the late great Clint Thomas. I mean, for those of y'all know, he passed away a year ago, a few days ago, and things just haven't been the same. However, Claire is really holding things down. I mean, I knew that when she bought the store, I knew Clint was I knew somewhere Clint was smiling. So the legacy lives on. And also, a few days ago, I lost a viewer. Her name was Kayla Sheremy. She's from Shreveport, Louisiana. She watched every episode since the beginning. She passed away Monday night. And my condolences go out to her boyfriend John and her sister Candace.
I thought you got a job at
Earlier this year, I did an episode, remembering her mom who had passed away. But and it sucks that she's such a beautiful. She had her. Such a. She was so young, but I can rest assured that she's reunited with her parents now. And also, I want to send my condolences out to the rest of her family and friends and the class of 2006 at Byrd High School. Oh, and this isn't the only episode I'm going to be doing this week. In about 3 days, I'm going to be at Louisiana Comic-Con in Lafayette. So tune in to that episode. All right, I'm Victor Nolly. I'm the Comic Hero. I'll see you in a few days for episode 133 at Louisiana Comic-Con. So till then, be safe, be blessed, be a hero.